Good morning. Welcome to Just for Today, a time of eclectic reading, sharing of perspectives, meditation, and prayer. I'm Reverend Rafe Ellis, Senior Minister and Spiritual Leader of the newly joined Centers for Spiritual Living Communities of Columbia and Greater Baltimore. Today is December 3rd. And this morning, let me get myself adjusted here. This morning I'm reading from a book called Guiding Principles, The Spirit of Our Traditions. It is a publication from the Narcotics Anonymous program. And I opened it up to page 227, and here's what it offers us. We come together as one, but we are neither nameless nor faceless. Our distinct personalities, our diversity, and our experience are what make up. And here it says Narcotics Anonymous, and I offer you what make up humanity. None of us is better or worse, more or less important, more or less worthy, or likely to succeed. Anonymity gives us all a break and gives us a chance. So how does that relate to things not Narcotics Anonymous? I think it relates perfectly because the whole thing about anonymity moves it from any individual to the collective consciousness, and in this case, I would suggest the absolute, the one consciousness. And we're all experiencing it, and we're all expressing it. And so, yes, we're each individualized forms of it, so we each have a personality, and that is developed over time and over conditioning. And the personality is not the truth of us. So there's a level of anonymity there, right? If we go to absolute reality, it's anonymous. It's nameless. It's changeless. Nameless because it already is. It can't be contained by one name because names are about ideas, right? If we invoke the name of God, everybody has a slightly different perspective and idea and definition of that. And an infinite wholeness is beyond the limitation of a singular name. And so creation, life, source, whatever we call it, itself is anonymous, unnameable, unlimitable. And yet, we each are identified by a name, by a past, by a history, all of which limits us. And so the more we can lean into this idea of anonymity, the more we're able to let go of the limitations of our human experience, and the more we're able to lean into infinite possibility. And we get to wrestle with why we're so attached to an identity. And as we wrestle with our own stuff around that, we become more accepting of ourselves. And as we become more accepting of ourselves, we become more accepting of others. And our whole experience of diversity grows. And all of that, I believe I have experienced, which is why I believe it, begins and ends with anonymity. Right? When we practice anonymity, we let each other change because we let go of the restrictions of, no, this is who you are. This is how you've behaved. This is how I've behaved. It doesn't mean that's who I am. None of us is our behavior. Behavior is something that happens based on what we believe, and beliefs can change. Hi, Carla. And so we get to lean into anonymity from a different perspective, from a perspective that offers us openness rather than invisibility. The more we let ourselves not be our behavior, the more we empower ourselves to become what we came here to be. But first we have to discover that. And that is beyond the identity that we have been given and molded into in our time here on planet Earth. What's underneath that? What is the us that is the absolute, that is the beyond restriction? And how do we lean into that? That's what this 3 sentences ignites in me. And so we're going to take this into our time of meditation and contemplation. And I invite you to just be present with whatever thoughts come up. Don't try to make anything happen. Don't try to prevent anything from happening. Just practice being present with whatever it is and see what comes up for you. So here's our reading again. We come together as one, but we are neither nameless nor faceless. Our distinct personalities, our diversity, and our experience are what make up humanity. None of us is better or worse, more or less important, more or less worthy or likely to succeed. Anonymity gives us all a break and gives us a chance. So let's take that into our time of meditation and contemplation. So leaning into this moment, this allness, this one substance, one source, one harmonious operation with itself, one self-existent everything. And by self-existent, I am recognizing that it simply has always been, that it was never made out of anything else. That it simply exists within itself, and all else is made out of it. The singular source and substance of all creation. And so this one is creation. It is diversity. It is infinite possibility, formed and unformed, expressed and yet to be expressed. And I am that in form. And what is true of me is true of all life. This one, nameless, changeless substance, energy, essence, individualizing itself, animating itself as creation. Each expression of itself individualized, yet never separate from itself or from any other expression. There can be no separation in one. And so, claiming and affirming the wholeness of creation, I claim my kinship. I claim my connection. I claim every other connection with. That the whole of creation is the harmonious operation of one. And so I speak my word, claiming and affirming an upliftment of this reality into the awareness of every element of creation expressing. That within the experience of creation is the experience that life is experiencing life. That there is a palpable awareness that beyond the labels of who and what we are, there is a kinship. There is an anonymous connection that frees us all from the limitations of conditioning. That frees us from the separation of duality. That brings us into alignment with that harmonious operation of one that is the very nature, the only nature of our being. And I am grateful. I am grateful for the activity of law, that the doer within the creative process, the aspect of the triune nature that simply receives the desire of the infinite to express and acts upon it and makes it so. That works mechanically, simply receiving it and making it happen. No judgment, no filter, just this divine, holy yes. The activity of grace that simply responds to itself affirmatively. And so I know that it has already responded to the word spoken. Has already made it so. There's no waiting period in the eternal now. And so I move into this day releasing my word, releasing any thought that would in any way diminish or restrict the full experience and expression of the word spoken. I claim a new thought, another new thought and another new thought, neutralizing anything that would get in the way. I let go. And I let go. And I let go. Until I absolutely let go. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amen. Amen. And so it is. Namaste.